So this time we've got a spiffy hair guy. Now he's usually sitting or driving along in his car doing his talky bit, but apparently he also likes to walk around in the rain along the coast for, well, to be quite honest, I'm not entirely sure, but he seems rather obsessed with rain for some reason. So yeah, here he is, the man from the Big Apple, CC. Alright, stop. What the hell, man? Recording in vertical... Wait, did you just... So let me get this, straight. You started recording in portrait mode, turned the camera to landscape mode, and then just left it as such in post. I think you can agree with me here. That's unacceptable.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
Well, the sheer irony of time zones with you being a flurfer.
CC here, Chris from New York.
Yo, what's up, Chris from New York? Hold on for a moment there. I mean, holy hell, Chris. Let me just fix this for you. Right, first let's get rid of the black background. Yeah, there we go. Now let's just turn it around a little bit further. There we go. Now let's add some scale and... yeah, much better. On the plus side, now it doesn't look like you're on the side of the globe anymore. Hmm? Unless that was the joke.
Westchester County. I just want to show you this. This is incredible. I'll get into what happened yesterday with my gentleman friend, but you got to see this. I'm tracking a rainstorm, and you know, a lot of people will tell you when it rains, it's almost like the heavens open up and water falls.
Well, not just a lot of people say that. In fact, all people will tell you that. I mean, that's what rain does. It falls.
And that's exactly what this looks like. You got to check this out. This is incredible. Look at this. That's the rainstorm right there.
Well, that's hardly what I call a storm.
And if it's coming out on camera, it's right past that peninsula right there.
You know, something tells me if you are having trouble getting it on camera, it's not a storm.
And all that is rain coming this way, but it's, you know, it's incredible to watch a storm come in.
Yeah, ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's absolutely nothing, because it's not that incredible.
At this flat land. You know, because you really do get the truth perspective of it.
Contrary to popular belief, I'm not gonna let those two things slide. Flat land and truth perspective? Nope.
But look at the top. You see, look at the top right up here. You can see it's almost like a circle.
Exactly. That is what perspective does, Chris. It makes things look like a circle, or rather a sphere around us. Which is also the cause for the horizon and all the misunderstandings about it being a flat plane. However, in this case, one part of the cloud is clearly lower to the ground or maybe even further away. You just made it special for your own special reasons.
And then the rains are coming down right here.
Yes, that is what rain does. So, what are we doing?
It's not a lot of rain. It's one of these storms that are going to come by, you know, just nip us a little bit, and that's pretty much it. But that truly is incredible.
Well, it's just a bloody rain cloud. Although I guess it being incredible is entirely reliant on how easily amused you are, and I'd be the first to admit I am easily amused, but rain clouds, they just don't do it for me. Is this some kind of New Yorker thing or big city thing? Because I'm from the Netherlands and we have expansive plains all over the place, so it's just not impressive to me. And I can't imagine it being impressive to anyone else. I mean, when you come down to it, it is just a rain cloud. Now, if it was a really cool supercell or something, or you might have had a point. So, what are we doing?
Well, the water's above. You never know.
Anyone else having trouble getting past the irony of him making that statement while walking along a coastline? You never know. Ah, hand! Sorry, I was having flashbacks to... Damn it!
You never know. We don't know what's up beyond the firmament. We have no idea.
Really? You're one of those? It's called space, Chris. Oh, and FYI, this firmament of yours is quite imaginary, unless you actually have proof. Although all these satellites, rocket launches, and of course observations tell us quite a different story.
And there's rain actually coming in right over here too.
Oh, for the love of... Will you stop being so damn excited by rain? Also, what are we doing? I could do a fast forward skip here, but let me just make one thing clear. One of my major pet peeves is when people are just not saying anything because they are trying to think up some stuff to say. You know, not having a script. And also in post, not editing it out. That's a major sin. People should really stop doing that. Or at least I could use the dead air this time. To make it not dead air. I have, in fact, improved your dead air.
And I'm still looking for that curve, guys. I still can't seem to find it anywhere.
Well, that's cute, Chris. So we're looking for the curve by standing near the coastline. If only there was a boat or a building or a mountain across the horizon, eh? Or you just happen to be not at sea level at a much higher elevation.
My friend came down here the other day and was fishing. He caught 5 sharks. You know, could be an old fishtail, but it actually was true. He sent me the pictures.
Huh. So you will accept pictures of your fisherman friend, but usually you lot won't accept any pictures of the Earth taken from space. What? Now stay with me here. If he faked those shark pictures.
So I'm a little hesitant about getting in the water because he was fishing not too far away from here. Let me just get into what happened yesterday. I can go into like a 3-hour conversation, but not only was my friend open to the fact that we live on a flat land here. I didn't get into it with him about the firmament or anything like that. It was mostly about NASA and how they lie and have been deceiving us. All of our fucking lies.
Ah, the conspiracy theories are flowing in. To be fair, you have to respect how they can casually just throw these accusations out there. Except for the fact that they're merely parroting what the kings of conspiracy lands tell them, of course. Also, even if this was true, we've known the Earth was a globe way before NASA was even a thing. Not to mention we have a lot of different space agencies around the globe. And of course these alleged lies have no bearing whatsoever on this demonstrable reality.
And I explained to him, look, there's just, you know, I've tried to debunk it, but I can't. You know, I mean, it seems to be flat.
At a very superficial glance, it seems to be flat. You are correct in that. That is the way how perspective works, as I mentioned. Now, until you actually do some observation, measurements and experiments, turns out it's not.
You know, and I got into the calculations with him.
Oh, please, don't misrepresent the 8 inches per mile squared. I mean, I hope you do realize this is a calculation for a parabola, not a sphere. Which is a simplification for easier calculations for the curve back in the day, when we didn't have fancy calculators basically available anywhere we need them. And it just so happens to work perfectly fine on a smaller scale, usually no further than the horizon, which is what it's actually used for. Now, if you're going to use this for an entire sphere, you're using the wrong math. A parabola will obviously never curve back to itself. Here, I'll link a proper calculator in the description which will show you the difference between a flat plane and what we see in reality on a globe. It's fittingly called the Advanced Earth Curvature Calculator.
And I told him, look, I've been down to the beach. There's no curvature at all whatsoever.
Oh, okay. So we're not going into the calculations then. Fine. And really? Expecting to see curvature with the naked eye at sea level on the coastline? What kind of depends on which axis you mean. The horizontal one or the one going off into the distance.
I've zoomed in on boats. They don't go below the horizon, they don't disappear, they stay right on the surface, they stay right there.
Well, boats in fact do go below the horizon as demonstrated time and time again, and if they are far enough over the horizon, they will, for lack of better words, disappear. No amount of optical magnification will bring them back into view. So, if you're claiming they don't exhibit this kind of behavior, you've clearly just exposed yourself merely zooming in on boats which weren't even near the bloody horizon. And another thing. On a flat plane, they wouldn't sink below the horizon, they would just decrease in angular size to the point when we can no longer resolve them.
I made a new friend. Well, I was really good friends with him to begin with anyway, but...
Becoming friends with someone who's already a really good friend is... Hey, what's a word for becoming friends with your friends? What's that? Yeah, that's what I thought. But I can't say that. We run a family-friendly show here. Here, have a... instead.
The friendship continues in a different manner. It's almost like you're opening a door.
Alright, you're losing me here. I mean, what are we doing and what does it have to do with the flat Earth?
And to new windows and new opportunities. You know, especially when you have a friendship that's been going on now for a couple of decades and then a door opens up and everybody looks at it in an entirely different light. About the future, present, and past. But I'm rambling on here.
You think? Well, shit. The reason I let him ramble on is to have you guys also experience Chris his beach thoughts completely raw, the same way I had to endure them. And because the rest of his beach walk is him talking about friendship and gushing even more about this oh so incredible rain cloud, for the remaining 3 minutes of beach Chris here, I'm going to use another video by him that has more flat earth substance, so to speak. So I am going to use a few bits from a few videos where he actually makes claims, because apparently he has this tendency to ramble on. I would have never guessed this was going to be an issue. Here's CC in his natural environment. His car.
Rockets don't work in a vacuum. You know, they need air. You know, fire needs air. No matter which way you look at it, don't give me this shit that NASA has this wonderful invention that you can, that's a crock of shit, okay? All right, you know that, I know that.
Well, fire technically doesn't need air, it needs the oxygen in air. And I mean, it's common knowledge rockets have an oxidizer mixed in with its solid fuel. And there are hypergolic fuels as well, which basically spontaneously combust on contact with an oxidizer. Now, the combustion process inside a rocket can only be stopped by controlling the flow of the fuel, or if it runs out of fuel. The solid boosters on the space shuttle, for example, you know, the white ones on the side of that hulking orange fuel tank, these will only stop once they actually run out of fuel. Rockets will keep running, regardless of the external environment having oxygen or not. That's a rocket for you. You don't know that. I know that.
Have you seen a picture of Earth? And he, complies, says, yes, of course. It's like, well, do you realize that the pictures of Earth depict the U.S. like 5 different sizes in each of the picture? How could that be? How could that be?
Well, let me tell you a little story there, Chris. The closer you are to an object, the bigger its features. Here, have an orange. I photographed this object from a distance of 11 cm and 44 cm using a 35mm prime lens set to f4 and then of course resized to be the same size. Now you can clearly see that the United States of America, represented by a tape here, has a different size visually, dependent on the distance of the camera in relation to our orange Earth. So here's the cutout and I'll overlay it so you can see the size difference. So, Chris, when you're as close as possible to a sphere, while still being able to see its spherical shape within your field of view, you will in fact see less of the surface. Now, if you start backing off, you will start seeing more and more of its surface, up to the point where you're able to see the maximum amount of said surface, which is basically one side of that sphere. That's how perspective works. Also try it for yourself if you don't trust my super scientific test here.
You know what I love about this? The reverse moon. I really love it, you know, when people give me this nonsense that they see the moon reverse in another place, and just because of that, they think they live on a globe. It's so easy to answer that question. You know, get yourself in a nice room, okay? Preferably maybe a living room or something like that, or whatever the biggest room is in your house. Select the center of the room and put whatever you want, tape whatever you want to the ceiling. Tape a picture of yourself, but make it round. Make sure you make it round like the moon. Put it on top of the ceiling. Make it big enough. I would say at least a little larger than a $50, depending on the size of your room, of course. Look at it at one side and then walk to the other side and presto, magic. The other side of the moon is flipped. Isn't that amazing, guys? You don't live on a globe, okay?
Holy freaking hell, Chris. Really? First of all, the moon wouldn't even look circular. It would look more and more distorted the further away you got from the coin-shaped moon on your ceiling. Unless the moon is in fact similar to a sprite like the ones in older first-person shooters. For example, Wolfenstein, Doom, Doom 2, Duke Nukem 3D, and so on, making it face anyone that's looking at it. However, that would also mean everyone has their own personal moon sprite. And on a flat plane with a small enclosed moon, you would in fact get this. Basically meaning that anyone not directly underneath the moon will be able to see the sides of the moon. They won't simply see an upside down moon as you're implying. What we are seeing in reality is in fact physically impossible on a flat plane. Now on the other hand, it doesn't matter where you are on a globe, you will only be able to see one side of the moon, and its orientation is dependent on which hemisphere you are located. Not even mentioning that if you were to suggest the moon is indeed very far away, while still on a flat plane, you'd be forced to look up at a much steeper angle to even be able to see the moon. Reality wants a word with the coin on your ceiling, Chris. Well, that was quite a headache-inducing endeavor going through multiple CC videos, just trying to find if he is actually making some points in some video somewhere. Did I mention he likes to ramble? About nothing? With a generous amount of dead air? Yeah, well let's just slap him around a little bit more, just to lighten the mood.
You know it's wrong. You know that's wrong. You know it's 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 wrong. And you know it's wrong. And when you know, I'm not sure off the top of my head, you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. And you know it's wrong. When you know everything is wrong, you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. You know that you know evidence. Oh my. And that's how most people become a flat earther.
Yes, I am an immature bastard. So, how are we doing on points? 41 silly points for Chris from New York, eh? Well, even though we haven't reached the required runtime yet, and that is quite impressive. Let's just throw in a multiplier of 1.6 to even the score with the other furthers in the order. I don't want any jealousy among the ranks of sillies. Rounded down, that leaves us with 65 silly points. All that is left to do is sentence CC here as another jester in the order of the sillies. So, thanks for all the YouTube stuff, you know where the buttons are. I am out of here. Holy hell, if I ever get the bright idea going through multiple videos for content, somebody stop me.